From the very first moment Stranger Things began, there was a feeling that one story was quietly simmering beneath the monsters, the bikes, the synth music, and the supernatural chaos. And now, in Season 5, Volume 2, that slow burn story finally explodes into what may be the most emotional scene in the entire series. A scene that feels earned, raw, terrifying, and deeply human. A scene that has fans crying, shaking, and rewinding again and again. Because after nearly a decade, Will Byers finally speaks his truth. The cast knew this moment was coming long before audiences did. Noah Schnapp, sitting alongside Jamie Campbell Bower and the Duffer Brothers, admits that even talking about it still feels surreal. This wasn't just another scene. This was something the show had been building toward since episode 1, when a frightened little boy vanished into the darkness of the Upside Down. Back then, no one could have imagined that the real battle would be internal, emotional, and life-defining. When Will finally stands before his friends and family and says, "I haven't told any of you this because I don't want you to see me differently," the room goes silent. Every stutter, every pause, every breath feels painfully real. When he says, "I don't like girls," it's not framed as a dramatic twist. It's framed as a confession born from years of fear, years of hiding, years of thinking that being different meant being weak. Filming that scene, according to Noah Schnapp, was overwhelming in a way no monster sequence ever was. He remembers finishing the take and immediately breaking down, running to hug Maya Hawke and Charlie Heaton, the three of them crying together in real, unscripted embraces. It wasn't acting anymore, it was release, it was catharsis. It was years of pressure finally lifting in one moment. What made it even more intense was the setting. Instead of a private conversation, Will's truth unfolds with the entire cast present, sitting around him. What he expected to be an intimate Joyce-Will moment became something much bigger. It became a communal acceptance, a declaration that he didn't have to be alone anymore. The scene was shot in the middle of the night, around 2 or 3 a.m., adding to the raw exhaustion and vulnerability that poured onto the screen. For Noah, the moment mirrored parts of his own journey. That personal connection made the pressure even heavier. He admits he was terrified. This wasn't just about doing justice to a character. It was about honoring millions of viewers who had been waiting to see themselves reflected in Will Byers. And when the script finally arrived, after months of begging to read it early, he knew immediately the Duffers had nailed it. He read it alone in his room and cried, real tears, relief tears, gratitude tears. The Duffer Brothers reveal this was the longest they've ever spent writing a single scene in the history of Stranger Things. They knew the weight it carried, not just for the story, but for the audience and for Noah himself. They wanted it to feel truthful, respectful, and powerful. When they sent the script and got Noah's sign-off, that was the moment they finally exhaled. If it rang true to him, they knew it would ring true to viewers. What's even more remarkable is that most of what audiences see came from the very first take. The words didn't feel rehearsed. They poured out of Noah in a way that stunned everyone on set. Even Jamie Campbell Bower, who plays Vecna, admits he was deeply moved watching it unfold, despite portraying the villain of the story. And here's where the genius of Stranger Things truly shines. Vecna believes Will's secret is his weakness. But the truth is the opposite. Accepting who he is becomes his strength, his power, his armor. For young queer audiences, seeing a superhero whose sexuality fuels his courage instead of diminishing it is revolutionary. Noah says openly that he wishes he had a character like Will Byers growing up. Someone who showed that being different doesn't make you broken. It makes you powerful. The emotional hits don't stop there. Just when viewers think they've survived the hardest moment, Max Mayfield awakens. The haunting return of the Moby song, "When It's Cold, I'd Like to Die," sends the emotion soaring. The Duffers admit they discovered the song in post-production and realized it had a devastating effect. Whenever they want to completely wreck audiences emotionally, they play that track, and it works every time. Watching Sadie Sink and Caleb McLaughlin reunite in that scene is another gut punch. Lucas never stopped believing Max was still there, and when she finally opens her eyes, it feels like hope breathing again into a world that's been suffocating under darkness. It's tender, restrained, and absolutely unforgettable. Then comes the heartbreak fans weren't prepared for. Nancy Wheeler and Jonathan Byers officially break up, not with yelling, not with betrayal, but with quiet understanding and shared trauma. The Duffers explain that this decision had been coming for a long time. Both characters needed independence. They loved each other, but love alone wasn't enough after everything they'd been through. What makes the scene even heavier is the reality behind it. Natalia Dyer and Charlie Heaton, a real-life couple, had the script months in advance. They carried the weight of that moment long before cameras rolled. The result is a breakup scene that feels lived in, mature, and devastatingly real, set against a massive, melting, almost Titanic-like environment that mirrors the emotional collapse happening between them. Volume 2 also finally reveals the truth about the Upside Down. It's not just a mirror world. It's a bridge, a gateway to something far darker, the Abyss. This revelation was planned from the very beginning. The Duffers admit they wrote it into their original pitch document back in Season 1 and deliberately withheld it for years. Now, with the finale approaching, everything changes. Dustin Henderson asks what's on the other side of the wall, and the answer is chilling. Death, Armageddon. Everything the characters thought they knew has been wrong. The stakes have never been higher, and the consequences have never been more final. We also learn more about Henry Creel's childhood trauma, deepening the parallels between him and Will. Jamie Campbell Bower acknowledges the similarities, even comparing Vecna to tragic villains like Darth Vader or Snape. Beneath the monster is still a human being, a broken child. The question remains, is redemption possible, or has he gone too far? For inspiration, Jamie drew from iconic villains like Pinhead, Dracula, and even The Shining, blending horror with humanity. And yes, fans noticed the physical transformation too. The infamous snatched waist sparked endless jokes, but the actor confirms it was a blend of practical effects, CGI, and a lot of collaboration across departments. As Season 5 Volume 2 barrels toward its explosive finale, one thing becomes clear. Every character is finally together. One truck, one mission, one last ride into the Upside Down. The chaos, the laughter, the emotion on set mirrored what fans have always loved most about this show, the power of togetherness. Even the smallest details matter. The numbers, the Dungeons Dragons rolls, the symbolism of 11, Will and Erica adding up to 20. Whether intentional or not, the mythology feels richer than ever. And with the 2-hour series finale streaming on Netflix and hitting theaters on December 31st, audiences are bracing themselves. Because Stranger Things was never just about monsters. It was about being different. About friendship, about love, about fear, and finally, about accepting who you are, even when the world feels like it's ending. And as Will Byers stands in his truth, stronger than ever, one thing is certain. This isn't just the end of a show, it's the end of an era.